All right, guys, I want to talk about, there's a lot of pride here in Maine and a lot of New England about waiting to turn on your heat. And let me just first say, this is going to be an expensive heating season, so trying to save money, I'm not taking away from that. But I want to talk a little bit about where the bulk of our heating occurs seasonally. So we have to start with something called a heating degree day, which I was aware of, but we started talking about it and people were like, what is that? So a heating degree day compares the mean outdoor temperature to a standard temperature. We use in the United States 65. So you take the high and the low, add them together, divide by 2. And if that is lower than 65, then you have heating degree day or days, depending on the amount. So the more extreme the temperature is, the higher number of heating degree days. They do it with cooling degree days too, but they're not really that pertinent in northern latitudes. Right. Okay, so let's take a look at a graph of Augusta, heating degree days by month. And you'll notice, can we drop that bug? Is there any way? You'll notice in October we have 471 heating degrees on average. Yeah. So if you're able to resist, turn on the heat maybe just a little or not as often, you are going to save some heating costs. But look what happens in December, January, February, where you're at 1,700 heating degree days, 1,200 heating degree days. So the bulk of the season, of course, is happening there. Let's go to Caribou, and what you'll see is the same trend, just bigger numbers, right? Obviously, they have more heating demand necessary in a place in a far northern latitude compared to even southern or central Maine. So for a lot of people, and it depends a little bit on what your heating system is. And so what I mean by that is some heating systems don't care what the temperature is outside. Most don't, right? Oil, propane, kerosene, they're just going to operate and then turn off when they reach their set point. So it doesn't matter what the outdoor temperature is, they're the same efficiency. Now, if you have a heat pump system, it's different because they're much more efficient in these fringe temperatures. Right. So you're going to spend a lot less money in shoulder seasons heating than you will in the middle of the winter. So if you have a heat pump, especially guys, the shoulder season heating, you can feel less guilty about that because the efficiency is much higher. The bottom line is for most people, if you set your thermostat lower in the meat of the season, you're going to save more money than waiting, until Halloween or whatever it may be to kick that heat in.
So
you could do both.
Spread out the cost basically over several months as opposed to really ratcheting it up.
Well, for most people, I think that saves more money because again, a day like today, maybe you've got 15 heating degree days, and maybe during January you have 50 heating degree days, and so there's just so much more energy needed to heat at that time that you need to save a lot of days here to equal one of those. So I think for a lot of people, a lower set point, or obviously if you can winterize the house, that's typically a better way to save money than waiting a really long time.
I think all the people from Efficiency Maine would say winterize the house first.
That's the best thing, but it costs money. So we're talking about.
But it's the cost of can you keep the cold air from coming in versus do you have to spend more while the cold air is coming in?
To fight it, for sure. So anyways, you do you with the heat, but just a little context.
This is going to be a tough season for a lot of people.
Hoping for, I like skiing, but hoping for a little bit of a mild winter.
Yeah. All right.
Good info. Thanks,
Keith.